Hello, background noise and all. Welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Today I'm going to be working on my Satsuki Azalea, which has been growing in this pot for 2 years. It's in a mixture of Kanuma and black lava. The black lava, I'm sure, is nice and crumbly still. The Kanuma, I'm sure, is broken down. I'm going to put it in the exact same mix. It looks very different, but I'm going to get it out of the pot and clean this up a little bit. If I can separate these two, I want to. Let's take a look at the tree. This is a tree I grew from 2 cuttings. It's got to be at least 20, if not 25 years old, maybe 20. This was one I put in later. It's a lovely tree, but it doesn't have that elegant upright that I've seen so many Satsukis have, which I really would like. But this tree gives me something that I want to exploit and maybe discuss with you a little bit. And that is a different view altogether. Viewed from above, it has a nice oval shape, much like Nigel Saunders' African acacia sarissa. So with that in mind, I started looking at it kind of from this angle and thinking I do have individual pads I can develop. I could look through them and really develop some very, very tight ramification if I'm patient and if I do it right. Some long things I'm going to take off in favor of the overall. And I think when this is done, it's going to look like a sprawling tree, not like an acacia, but I don't know. I would like it if it looked like an azalea. All right, let me get started on getting this out of the pot and getting it repotted. All right, the last time I repotted this 2 years ago, it was also just lifting it from the existing pot and putting it back in this same pot. This has been beat up over the years and munched on by squirrels. I don't know what they see in this stuff, but it's pretty amazing. So I'm trying to loosen it up using a very, very thin palette knife. These roots will probably go right to the edge of the pot all the way around, and this thing should come out like a basically a casting of the inside of this pot. So I'm going to try and lift it out. Yeah, and you can see the broken down Kanuma. It just crumbles in my hand, and that's probably the best of it right there. I'll wash this out and let me clean out this base, this root base. If you can see this mat of very, very fine roots, that is all in here. So this is quite a fun exercise. And I'm going to end up washing a lot of it out, I'm certain. But it's going to go right back in the same pot. I'm going to do my best not to damage the very, very fine roots, but it is inevitable. Yeah, I was hoping it would be a little more crumbly than this. I'm wondering if I can get a little more trunk exposed. Yeah. Well, the reason I have the black lava mixed in here is because it makes it a little more crumbly. If this were just Kanuma and I had waited 2 years, it would probably be a solid mass that I would have to soak. I may have to soak this entire thing to loosen it up. It creates a very messy tub at the end, but what can you do? I hope I didn't have a single screen at the bottom, but I may have a fairly large one. Yeah, the screen goes all the way. Maybe if I'm gonna have to break that away anyway. Yeah, that'll make this easier to tackle from below. You can kind of see the mix. What I have now is about 15% lava. This was, I think, a little more. But the Kanuma just breaks down. Like Akadama, it breaks down. I think I'm going to try soaking this. I'll be back at you. I'm going to be at this for quite a long while. I'm using my fingertips at the bottom to kind of pick away at the bottom of the root ball. Just let the lava rock basically help it break up. Like I said, if this was just Kanuma, I don't think I'd be having even this easy a time. And believe me, it's not easy. I'm just trying to let it fall away. But I've been looking at this tree now for weeks, knowing that I gotta get to it. And in terms of separating these trees, I still don't know if that's going to be even possible. It will all depend on this exercise I'm doing now. I think I'm gonna put gloves on. All right, I got 2 trees, 2 cuttings, tiny cuttings. All right, let's get to the root work. And I think I am going to put it in a different pot. All right, so I washed off the roots. I like this as the front, and I think I am going to separate the trees. I'm going to put this one in an oval pot. It's probably not much larger by volume. I'm going to put it center, lean it back slightly, and have it elevated somewhat. I'll get to pruning this after I'm sure it has recovered nicely. All right, I'm just going to take off just some of the root ends especially around back where I'm leaning back. Yeah, that should do nicely. Let me get some Kanuma and black lava in the pot. And I didn't mention this before, but I'm probably going to put dried pine needles on top to increase the acid content. This one. I might cut this one. Maybe not. I'll see what happens. There's a connecting root down there that can go straight down, but this still might be exposed. So I've got to suss that out first. All right. So about 15 or 20% black lava. This actually looks a little more. Had been sifted. Didn't look like it. I'm going to pile it up a little more in the front. So I want the tree leaning back a little bit. Okay, let's give this a shot. Yeah, I like that. There were some deep crevices in the back. Deep air pockets. You can see the Kanuma's going down in volume as I'm working it underneath the roots, the root mass, trying to avoid any air pockets at all. And I know how in a very short time the root mass will fill this pot again. And I'll probably want to do a fairly extensive repot again in 2 years, but maybe even in a year. still going down. Quite amazing. Sometimes you think it's, well, the pieces are just fitting together. Other times you really discover a spot that needs filling. But let me see if you're seeing it at a good angle. You're not seeing the whole thing. Well, there's the tree, unpruned. Leans back a little bit, but not really. There was a big chop here that I'd like to heal over, and there's some moss in here that I will continue to pick out. And I'm going to water this, put it on the bench, and move on to the other tree that I took out of this. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one yet. This one I'm going to prune way back and put in this smaller bowl shape. All right, let me get some soil in the pot and get started. And since it's a round pot, I don't really care about a front very much. I'm not going to wire it in. I'll keep it in the greenhouse for a while to ensure that it doesn't get blown over in the wind. This is not going to be steady in the pot for a while. Here's a very late blooming Satsuki Azalea. Blooms in, starts to bloom in the early July. Usually, this year it was quite early, but everything was early this year. This year it bloomed in mid-June. And this, well, the parent plant bloomed nicely. This tree did not bloom as well because I had pruned it last year, and I'm going to do that again this year. So any flower buds that are going to set for next year, I'm kind of sacrificing another year. And I'm going to get some stones to put on this. It's always good getting to a tree that you know needs work and you just don't have time to get around to it. Well, that's all I have time for today. I've got both trees potted up. I think they'll do well. I just got to watch out for the wind on that one tree. I think the other one is pretty sturdy in the pot. Thank you once again for joining me and keeping me company in my backyard.